What's up, Hyler? I've locked in the only pick. That makes sense because it hasn't been going good for us. We've failed in both of the stages so far. Um, we somehow did worse this time around. Legacy, instead of going 0 and 3, went 3 and 0. Falcons nearly went 0 and 3. Nearly lost to OG here. Yeah, it was a really shocking stage. Falcons, obviously bombed out. FaZe, they had to make it interesting. You know how FaZe is. Simple looks really good today in his series against MIBR. Heroic fell on day 4. Last day, they fell today. Ty Lue knocked out by Heroic. M80, really disappointed with how they performed. So these are the teams that ended up going through. Virtus Pro and Legacy went 3 and 0. Big shocker, obviously for me. Virtus Pro looks really good. Best they've looked in a long time. Basically since Katowice, I think. Legacy, obviously, really just shocked everybody. Um, yeah, I don't really have a whole lot more to say about Legacy. They just really shot really hard. 3D Max, Body, Lucky, and Exercise all looked good. Maka didn't look incredible, but he still looked solid. Maloroy looked insane in stage 2. Genuinely one of the I'm shocked. I'm interested to see how the tier 1 teams uh, how he fares against them because that'll be the big test for him, especially now that there's a lot of tape for him. Pain, you know, it's Pain. They NQC, Big DGTs looks really good for them. Snows had some big rounds. FaZe, in typical FaZe faction, had to wait until the last day, but they looked really good today. Simple had a great series, even though he's been not great so far this event. Lin Vision, they've been the big shock. I thought Tyloo was better than them, but hey, uh, Zackers looks really good. Amelia's looks really good. They just have had a really good performances. They've been shooting really hard. Starry's been incredible in like the lurk spots. Everybody's been fragging except for Westmelon. So, and then Call Me Sue. He's had some big moments. And then of course Namiga. Zway's been incredible. Khan's had some big moments. And those are your two that you're kind of looking at there. On the stage 3, Vitality. They haven't lost since the start of the year. I don't see why they would stop now, even if it's a best of one. They're open up against Legacy. Sorry, Legacy. I know you've had a good, tournament so far. And then you got to play FaZe, who we've just talked about. They've been shaky. I mean, it's gonna be a, absolute cinema. It's gonna be an incredible BO1 to watch. Uh, Assuming that everything pans out the way I think it is in those opening matchups. But if they end up playing FaZe, ZywOo against Simple, that's a great series to watch. For 0 and 3, I have Namiga. They just don't have the firepower compared to all the other teams here. I think they're good, but I mean, you're against the creme of the crop here. Um, I think Legacy has enough firepower to beat Namiga, and so that's why I have Legacy not going 0 and 3. I had them playing against each other in the 0-3 matchup or 0-2 matchup. My second team I have going out is G2. I mean, with Malbs, and Malbs hasn't looked great since Nico's left and since Swansea's left. Hunters has looked okay. Snacks is Snacks. Heavy God's the second best player on this team. And, I like Heavy God a lot, but they need a star opper for this team to work, and they don't have that right now. So maybe, hey, after some boot camps, they look a lot better. But for right now, I'm going to have them 0 and 3. Let's see. Mongols. Me, biggest Mongols fan. I have them playing Vitality in the 2-0 match. So, unfortunately, they're going to have to settle for 3 and 1. Who else do I have going through? 3D Max, like I said, they've looked really good. I really like the CS they've been playing. They've been, you know, I think they've been playing. top 8 CS in the world right now. Hence, obviously why I'm making top 8 at the major here. If Falcons made it through, they probably don't make it through, but it is what it is. Virtus Pro, they just won 3-0. I have them making it through on the last day. If Icy has his big moments, Fame and Flit can keep it up, Flamus can keep it up. I think they can make it through against some of the other teams here. They open up against Mouse, which is probably a loss, but I think they can beat most of the teams in that 0-1. I think then it's kind of just luck of the draw from the rest of the way there. But I think they are better than a team like Legacy. I think they're better than a team like Lin Vision, better than Amiga. I think they've shown they're better than those other 8 teams that just made it through. And if they keep matching up against those teams, they'll end up making it through all the way. Navi just had a boot camp. They've had a long time leading up to the major. Hopefully they can work on some things. Hopefully they're coming in prepared. That's how they won Copenhagen. So can't doubt them. Uh, Elige, gotta have the American in the playoffs. Simple. On the major grand final, not grand final, major playoffs. For that alone, for content, they should make the playoffs here. And now we have the 2 best teams in the world. Obviously, you see I have Aurora missing out. I have Liquid missing out. Pain missing out. I really like Molidoy. Liquid hasn't looked as good as you would think they'd look with the Shui edition. Ultimate isn't the top 8 opper. Hot take at this stage. So, and NAF hasn't looked good ever since they added Shui. He hasn't looked good all year really. So Xantares has been not Xantares, and I don't really. Wakati has been one of their better riflers. I really like their pieces on Aurora, but like just their calling and the way that they're playing and their map pool, I just don't believe in it, to be honest. The Anubis isn't their instant win that it used to be. So, but I've donking his way to 3-0 in Maus. They've looked incredible. They've had a bunch of time leading up here to add some new stuff. And so that's who we're going to be going with. Uh, Hopefully we get this right, and that way I can still get my gold coin. Because gold coin would be nice, don't you think? All right, have a good night. Hopefully your pickums are going better than mine so far. Let's check my leaderboard here. Any good friends making it so far? No? Schlep? Schlep, look at Schlep. Schlep's been killing it. I'm trying to see who else on the CS team has been doing good. Anybody else on the CS team? Is anybody else on the CS team doing it? CJ. CJ's been doing just as bad as I have. Alright, have a good night. Remember to check out the merch shop, all that good stuff, link down below. I'm not wearing any merch today, unfortunately. But yeah, have a good night. See you all next time.